signs that you're at risk of being laid off. As layoffs sweep American businesses, here's how to read the signs that your job is in jeopardy and what to do about it. You guys already know if you've been in an Antoine Wade or Black Heights coaching session. You already know if your job is going to be at risk. If you're not providing any value, you're sitting down at your desk trying to act like you're active. Nobody knows what you do. You know, you're not tooting your horn. You're not having one-on-ones with your manager. You're not getting feedback on how you're performing. You know if you're at risk of being laid off or not. If you aren't able to share the results that you bring to your team and be proud of that and brag about that, then there's a potential chance that you're at risk of being laid off, because if you can't explain how you bring value to your company, nobody else can. So don't expect that your manager, when he's asked or she is asked, they say, hey, Barbara, we need to reduce the workforce by 4% on your team. That means 2 people. If Barbara doesn't know the value that you bring to the team, you are at risk. You are at risk. If you don't know how to share those results, work with your manager, get feedback, book a coaching session with me. www.blackheights.com. www.blkheights.com is in the description of this video. Book a career empowerment coaching consultation, a coaching session with me. But layoffs are sweeping American businesses as recession fears abound. Peloton, JP Morgan Chase, Netflix, and the real estate brokerage Redfin are among the companies that have cut jobs so far this year. If you're jittery, you're not alone. According to a recent survey from Insight Global, 70% of employees surveyed said they are worried about their job security if the U.S. enters another recession. Layoffs don't happen out of the blue. Experts say they are warning signs that your job is in jeopardy. Some, like a lousy performance review, are obvious, but others might be harder to pick up on at first. Your manager might start putting long-term projects on hold or canceling meetings altogether. That project that you're working on, all of a sudden you don't have the funding for it, you don't have work to do. Those meetings that you were once invited to, although they're no longer on the calendar, you may be at risk. You may be at risk. You may be saying this. God damn. Many of you guys are probably like, well, I feel like my ladder climbers are saying this right now. It ain't happening to them. They're probably saying this. And the reason why they're saying this is because they know the value that they bring, and their managers know that as well. So they're typically not the ones on the sheet when you have to, or when your manager is asked to reduce their headcount by 2% or 4% or 2 bodies, 2 FTEs. The ladder climbers aren't part of that. So that's why they'll be saying, Now, don't get me wrong, we're all replaceable, but ladder climbers, it's very difficult to replace us. Let's just put it like that, because we get the work done. We get the work done. We show up. We provide value. We provide value, okay? So layoffs don't happen out of the blue. There's warning signs, right? Your meetings are canceled. Your project is put on hold. That's a sign. It's important to know the factors that make you potentially more vulnerable, especially in an economy like this. You need to be able to deconstruct what's happening and examine your situation so you get a sense of whether your role is secure. Keeping tab on the news. Signs of a troubling economy are hard to miss these days. News feeds are full of bleak headlines. Everybody is laying people off, they're saying. Netflix, JP Morgan, Bank of America, a whole bunch of others are laying people off. But you also have people that are hiring, but you don't see those on the headlines. You don't see those on the headlines. So even though it's stressful, pay close attention to the news. Stay in the loop about the broader macroeconomic trends and what they might mean for your industry. Oil and gas, if it starts to sink, you may be at risk. Technology, Walmart, retail, Target. People aren't shopping as much. You may be at risk. People aren't buying technology as much. You may be at risk. Budgets getting cut. You may be at risk. So keeping tabs on the news is very important for you guys. Okay? Paying attention to your company's business results. Most businesses release quarterly earnings, especially if they're public. There are some that was released today. I got news for you. Microsoft missed. Alphabet missed. Many people missed. Okay? Many people missed. Companies like Alphabet, Microsoft missed their earnings per share targets. This is all today. Walmart missed. So the Dow took a 250-point dive this afternoon when those numbers came out. Pay attention to your company's business results. Listen to their quarterly business results. Look at the stock market. If you're a private company, make sure you're part of that all hands call. If you can't make it, listen to a recording during the weekend. Understand what's happening. Understand what's happening. Pick up on the subtle cues, they say, or the clues. Other signs that you may be on the chopping block are more subtle. For better or worse, your performance is tied to your boss's performance, so you could be vulnerable if your boss is transferred, fired, demoted, or forced to retire. Getting layered. When a company moves someone new between you and your boss, is also a cause for concern. Your boss is gone. They got rid of his ass. You like this. God damn. You were close to him. Now they bring in somebody else. You may be at risk if you don't have the visibility. Bringing somebody else in. Let's just say you report to a director, and all of a sudden they bring in a senior manager. Rather than reporting to you or promoting you, they bring in a senior manager. You may be at risk if you're getting moved off key assignments or given to work on legacy systems or legacy work. You may be at risk. They're trying to find work for you to do because you aren't that valuable. So they give you the work that's less important, especially you guys in tech. Especially if you guys in tech. If you're put on a project where you were on the cutting edge and all of a sudden they say, you know what, Brian, we want for you to work on this over here. Go and support this system that only has, 2 customers using it. If that's you, you may be on the verge of getting axed. Okay? You may be on the verge of getting axed. Ultimately, you need to prepare for the worst. There are ways to prepare for a layoff or even turn things around at your job. When you start to feel anxious, it's a good time to check in on people at your company to stay connected in your organization. Focus on what you can control, doing your best at your current job, staying active on LinkedIn and taking care of your mindset. That's the best thing to do. Prepare for the worst. Start your LinkedIn. Become part of the Black Heights community. Network. Contact people. Be positive. Stay active. Because if you don't have your LinkedIn updated and you get the axe and you have to go through that, that's just going to take a lot more time for you to put yourself out there to get a new role. It's going to take a lot more time for you to do such a thing. So you want to have a backup plan. Talk to a career coach. Book a session with me. www.blkheights.com. At the end of the day, you want to prepare for the worst. So those are the signs, guys, that you may be at risk of being laid off. And the last thing we're going to talk about